Josh here with Project Car Media, and in this episode, we're going to install some simple but much needed parts on the GT350. And I'm also going to show you what I've done to the car so far. Plus, I got some pretty cool news, so stick around. Welcome back to another episode. Now, at the end of last video, I let you guys know that I needed only 24 more subscribers to reach that magic 100 to where I could get a custom URL for my YouTube channel. And man, did you guys deliver. I not only got 100 subscribers, I actually surpassed that. I'm up to about 119 now. So thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and watching the videos. It really means a lot. And hopefully YouTube will unlock that custom URL soon. And that way you guys can search for my channel much easier than using the really long link that is currently my channel URL. All right, these are the parts that I have been accumulating over the last couple months. I'll go ahead and add links to all these parts in the description as well. And before we install them, I'll show you guys what I've done to the GT350. First part that I got was the Ford Performance oil catch can. This is the passenger side only. I did not buy the driver's side. Just through my research, the driver's side doesn't seem to accumulate much oil, so I stuck with just the passenger side. It'll definitely work for my application. Now, I did read that if you track the car a lot, it is beneficial to have both the driver's side and the passenger side. But since I only do about 4 track days a year and a handful of autocrosses, I figured the passenger side would be just fine. The second thing I got was the Ford Performance tie down kit. Now these are loops that bolt to existing bolt holes underneath your car, and they basically provide a tow point on each corner of the car. So that way, if you're loading your car up on a trailer or you're putting your car on the dyno, you have somewhere to easily hook your strap to. Since I will be trailering the car to events, I decided to go ahead with the tie down kit. Third thing I got was the Ford Performance Air Raid air filter. Now this will add a little bit of power, but mainly it's to replace the stock paper filter. This filter will flow a lot better and filter a lot better than the stock paper filter. Fourth thing I got was the Ford Performance tow hook. Now, I'm actually going to be returning this tow hook because I didn't read the instructions on installing it until after I had ordered it. And unfortunately, it requires you to remove the metal bumper and drill holes in it. And I really didn't want to do that, so I'm going to be returning that and getting the front tow hook from ZL1 add-ons. Their tow hook uses existing bolt holes, and so you don't have to do any kind of drilling or anything like that. So now, last but not least, I got a couple dress-up items for Christmas this year. So yes, they've been sitting around for a couple months. One of them is the aluminum Shelby fuse box cover. The other one is the aluminum Shelby brake fluid reservoir cover. And then I also got some red lettering to go on the front lip where it says Shelby. Now, I was contemplating on maybe powder coating these covers black since they're going in the engine bay. But since the stock strut bar is aluminum, the build plate is aluminum, I thought maybe adding these two pieces won't look so bad as aluminum. So we're going to throw them on, see how they look, and go from there. Now, I did want to say that all the parts that I got are mainly to help with longevity. The oil catch can, I'm the second owner and the car has 12,000 miles on it. So this probably should have been put on a lot sooner, but at least I'm putting it on now and not when the car has 50,000 miles or 100,000 miles. The air filter obviously will give me a little bit of power, but I mainly got it to help filter more of the dirt and dust out, which again will help with longevity of the engine. And then the tie down kit is basically just so I don't end up hooking my straps to something that might break on the bottom of the car. And obviously the front tow hook is if my car becomes disabled on the track or if I go off track, then there's a good place for the recovery vehicles to strap to tow me out. Okay, so let me show you what I've done to the GT350 so far before we go ahead and get these parts installed. One of the first things I did to this GT350 after I got it were these hood struts here. Now these are the Redline tuning hood struts. Having the stock hood prop is a little bit annoying, especially when you're trying to get into the engine area. It makes opening the hood a lot easier. You don't have to have the hood prop, and they're very easy to install. So here is the passenger side. Here is the driver's side. There's basically a bracket right here that you install that the shock goes onto, and it comes all the way down here. There's a little bracket that you put into a hole that's already in the body, and that's how that attaches there. So very secure, very easy to install. Definitely recommend them. Makes working on the engine area a lot easier, and I think it just looks a little bit better as well. And the second thing I got were the ZL1 add-ons, kind of like a mud flap. It's like a rock guard for the bottom rocker area. Now, these just attach with a little clip at the top, some 3M tape behind it, and then these 3 pins at the bottom. These are OEM factory pin locations. Please forgive my car for being so dirty. But as you can see, it totally blocks off the rocker panel area and prevents rocks from getting down in here and potentially causing issues, paint issues, stuff like that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to install is the Ford Performance oil air separator. And this is a really, really easy install. We need to unclip this hose right here. The oil air separator sits right here, and then it'll have a hose to go over here and another hose here. So let's go ahead and get started. And there you have it. The oil air separator is in. It uses 2 mount points. As you can see, one of them is right down here. The other one is right there. And now we're all done. Very, very simple install. Now, I know there was a viewer on my last video asking how they can tell if it's a 2019 engine. And this is my tag. I just popped my coil cover off and just slid it down a little bit. As you can see, I have a regular GT350. And you can see the tag says GT350R. Yeah, all the 2019 engines were technically GT350R engines. You pop off your cover, it should say GT350R and have a KA designation. So this is to answer one of the viewers' questions on my last video. Okay, next we're going to do an install that's even easier than the oil air separator, and that is the Ford Performance air filter. All you need is a flathead or an 8mm. So let's do it. All right, and that's it. The Ford Performance Air Raid air filter is in, and it's on. Next, we're going to install the Shelby aluminum brake fluid reservoir cover. Shelby brake fluid reservoir aluminum cover is on. Seems to fit pretty good. It looks really good actually. It doesn't stand out too much. Now we just got to work on getting the fuse box cover on. Next we're going to install the Shelby aluminum fuse box cover. Okay, everything under the engine bay is done. And I gotta say, these look really good. I'm pretty happy with them. They look similar to the strut bar and the aluminum build plate. So I don't think I'm gonna take them off and get them powder coated. I think I'm gonna leave them aluminum for now. They do look really good. I'm happy with them for sure. The Ford Performance oil air separator looks OEM. I mean, it looks exactly like it probably should have come from the factory. The air filter is going to flow and filter much better than that old paper filter, and it definitely looks a lot better too. All in all, very happy with all this stuff. Now we're going to get underneath the car and put the tie-down kits on. We are going to install the Ford Performance tie-down kit. I jacked the car up just a little bit, but these two bolts are right behind the front tire on both sides. You have to take those out, put the tie-down bracket on, and use the provided 13 millimeter bolts that they give you, and that'll be it. So we'll go ahead and do these front two, and then I'll show you guys the rear. The first tie down bracket is on. Now, these are 13 millimeter bolts. They want you to use blue thread locker with them. They torque to 55 foot-pounds, and you always want to make sure that the tie down bracket is facing forward and angled down. I'm going to go ahead and do the passenger side, and then I'll show you guys the rear. Okay, now on to the back. These holes do not have any bolts in them from the factory. It's right in front of the rear wheel, and basically we just need to install the bracket. So let's go ahead and do that. The rear tie down bracket is on. Now you got to remember, when you put this on, the rear brackets are supposed to face rearward and the front brackets are supposed to face forward. So just remember that when you're putting them on, they're supposed to angle down and face backwards in the rear, and they're supposed to face down and forwards in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other rear tie down bracket on, and we should be done. All right, I got my tie down kit on, and it was very easy to install. And one thing I didn't like while I was doing it was how I was jacking up the car. Now, I've seen a bunch of stuff about jacking rails, and basically my question to you guys is, do you guys know of any jacking rails that work with the Ford Performance tie down kit? From my impressions, basically the jacking rails would cover the holes needed for the tie down brackets, but I haven't really gone into too much research about that. So post down in the comments if you guys know if the Steeda jacking rails or some of the other jacking rails will fit with the Ford Performance tie down kits already installed. Because if so, I'm going to have to get some. I really don't like jacking the car up on the pinch welds, and it's just too close to the side skirt in my opinion. So if you guys have any insight on that, please let me know via the comments. And last but not least are the Shelby letters on the front lip. Now, basically, I'm going to clean the letter area with some soap and water, get it nice and dry, and I'm going to try to stick the letters on while the plastic is dry and see how that works out. Luckily, the letters I got came with two sets, so if I screw up, I can redo it. But I have seen a lot of people put the letters on wet so they can slide them into place. I've seen a couple different methods, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to put the letters in the indents while the plastic is dry and see where that takes me. Okay, the Shelby letters are in, and man, does it look good. The red pretty much matches my paint. I basically just cleaned the letters out, and then I was really careful about putting the stickers in. They're not perfect, but I mean, even from a couple feet away, it looks really good. You can't really tell, so I think it really looks good on this red car. Now we just got to go take it for a drive and make sure there's no leaks from the oil air separator. So I really appreciate everybody watching this video. Hopefully you guys found some information in this video helpful. I will include links to all the parts in my video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, thank you so much for getting me over 100 subscribers. That means so much to me. And here's to getting to 1,000. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.